Hi, everybody.
How are you doing on this lovely Monday evening?
It's cold in Cape Town, so we're sitting having a chat with you. I thought that's a good way of preparing myself to go to bed tonight.
Well, I don't think you ever thought that you're going to be one of the guests on my little chatty show. Hey, did you?
No, I never thought I would be a guest, and I wouldn't call it a little show either. I must say that, because it's this very talk that got me where I can testify tonight about my car.
Oh, wow.
This was the tool that was chipping, and I'm forever grateful that you started this series or this live book page.
Well, it's a big honor for me to have you, and for everybody else. Sylvia and I kind of met each other about 18 months ago when
Yes.
we got involved with the WOW coach groups. Yeah, and since then we kind of became partners and friends. And I think, like I said in my email, she's one of the people that gets to push me a little bit beyond the boundaries that I like. Thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, so, and for me, it is such a privilege because I've been standing on the sidelines seeing how God is just shifting and changing old mindsets for you specifically in terms of money. And this car was a big part of it. But let's start first with, who is Sylvia? Who are you? Give me, a quick summary for people who's listening and do not know you, the Sylvia I know.
Okay, well, you all know that by now my name is Sylvia, and I'm known by Bryden. I was married to a British man. I'm a widow. My husband passed away 11 years ago, and I also raised my grandson. He's just turned 15 yesterday, and I can really call him, he's a pillar in this house. He's such an awesome, gentle person. But I'm also a teacher. I homeschool. I was trained at Spirit Word Ministries. I landed up being a supervisor of a class, and God prepared me there to come to Cape Town to homeschool my grandchild. And I'm a granny, and yes, what else can I tell you about me? I've moved around quite a bit. I was based in Port Elizabeth, moved to Cape Town, moved to Stilfontein after my husband passed away, stayed with Prophet Kobus for 2 years. I actually stayed on a year after his passing, and then I moved to Cape Town so that I can have a father figure for Jack. In other words, I moved closer to be with my son. He's the other love of my life. And then obviously I'm RC as well of all of Africa, and I absolutely love it. I saw Kirby and Fiona at Spirit Word Ministries, and then came across their Facebook page when I moved to Cape Town. And I think I've been following them now for close to 7 years. Joined the internationals, and now we have this going, all the groups. Awesome.
Yay. The reason why some of us get up in the morning.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
So let's get into the car testimony, because I think you and I can talk about this car for 3 days, and then we will still only kind of scratch the surface. So, but let's start with you had a previous car that you sold a few months ago, but that was not an easy journey for you. Tell us what was, Okay. Tell us, first of all, why did you sell the car? And then what was the hardest part of letting go of that car?
Yeah. Now, that was a car that I inherited from my husband. Now, I want you to put a pin into inherit. So I inherited that car from my husband. He bought it brand new. It was his joy, his pride. And as I said, I bought it now. If you work out, it was a pretty old car. That car moved with me, as I've just said earlier, Port Elizabeth, Stilfontein, Cape Town, and I was up and down between Stilfontein and Port Elizabeth with that car. And the car just got to a stage where the maintenance was just far too high on the car. You can't get parts for that car. Beautiful car. I mean, I love a BMW, a beautiful car. But I must tell you guys, that car has not been able to lock for 11 years. I drove that car wherever I wanted. I couldn't lock the car. I had to replace the front doors, and a long story. And I knew that I needed to replace the car. In Cape Town, I wouldn't drive more than 5 kilometers away from the house. And the last service it had, they told me the fuel injection was going, and sorry, we can't get parts for you. I couldn't. There was 2 reasons I didn't want to sell the car. The main reason was the sentiment, because the car was my husband, and that husband was my car. Was part of the car. And after he passed away, you know, the world goes on, and they start, as you are born and you start accumulating an identity in the world, they started cutting his identity up. The bank cut his cards up in front of me. They stamped his ID book deceased. And that car was something I was holding on to for my husband. So I had that emotional part of it that I had to let him go to be able to move on. And that was a big thing for me. And then the other part, I think it must have been 3 months ago, I got to the place where I could detangle from that emotional side of the car, because I realized, you know, even if he was here, he would have said to me 10 years ago, sell the car. So I had that part. I had to be detangled from that. And I thank the Lord for meditation. That helped a lot. And then the second thing was the offers that I got on the car. You know, people will stop you. They want that type of car. They would offer me 20,000 Rand for the car. You cannot buy another car. I landed up with double that amount. Somebody that approached me, and this happened just like that. In February, I had to have the car re-licensed, and on my way back from the license department, I stopped at the shop. I never stopped, and somebody ran up to me and begged me to sell the car, and I did everything that I could to stop that man. I told him everything that was wrong with the car, and he said, I want the car. Tell me what you want. And I had a figure in my heart, because I wanted to be fair and just. I spent a lot of money on the car, and if I could just kind of break even, and he offered me 40,000 Rand for the car. I landed up getting 42,500. I thought I will throw in another 5 and he will say no, but he really wanted the car. So the car, from the offer to the car to the selling of the car, happened like in 2 days, gone. That was the journey of that. But then I sat with this 42,500 Rand in my hand, and I needed a car. And the more I was looking at cars, I realized I needed 3 times that amount of money. I still had a little bit of money in an account somewhere. But being able to sell that car, and for 5 months, I didn't have a car. And this is where Marie-Marie's and this talk about money came in. And she started that. And every time I listened to a testimony, I would listen to people, and inside I was turning, and I said, but how can they do that? And how can somebody get in a car and drive all that far and not know where the next cent was going to come from, in a car that was not even roadworthy enough, as far as I'm concerned, to take a trip over Africa. So I've had all of these things going on, and the more I listened to the testimonies, the more there was a detangling coupled with the meditation as well. And God started taking me back to certain situations in my life where I started losing hope. But the biggest thing was the poverty mindset. I had a poverty mindset. I grew up in poverty, and I couldn't marry the money that I had in my hand to how I'm going to get a car. And I had crazy thoughts, Marie. I even thought maybe I shouldn't have a car. Maybe I'm going to die, God knows, before the time. I had all these things going on. And the journey of the unraveling wasn't always pleasant, because I had to revisit a lot of things on my past, where I've lost hope, and all these kind of things. And I don't want to go, I'm sure you don't want to know all the little details, but there was a detangling, but right through it, I pushed through it. I kept on listening to the people that were testifying, and that wall that I've put up to protect myself and the control that I had over money, I really tried to protect that. Then one of the scriptures that really worried me was the love of money. And then in desperation, I went to God and I said, Father, I've got this money and I need a car, but I kept on looking at the money and I couldn't marry the two. I just
because now you were having a car in mind that you wanted, and you knew that car and this money is not going to come together.
They're not going to come together. But now I was looking at cars in the market. Now, with everything that we've learned, I really, and that is where the poverty mindset came in, that I couldn't create a car in my mind. I couldn't. It took forever. But every time a wall came down, I could see a color of a car. And then I could see this of the car and that of the car. And eventually, I would make up my mind about a car, but in my heart, I knew I was settling for the second best. That's not the car I wanted. I love a BMW. I love maybe it's the sturdiness, the big engine and that kind of thing, but my heart was pulled towards a BMW. And eventually, I said to God, okay, fine, I want somebody sent me a prophecy and say, God showed me your car. The angels are ready with a car. It's a hatchback. So not knowing my own mind about a car, I latched onto the hatchback. So, and the creating part, the imagining a car was very, very difficult for me. But as I said, the process of unraveling, I got to a stage where I could say, okay, Father, this is what I want. This is the model what I want. This is the color that I want. I created the document. I had like a tick list on the car. I created the document, your VIN number, and I had a registration number for that car. And I'll never forget it, 777810. Now, I kept on seeing that number, and at some stage, I saw somebody hand me a key to a car through my front door, the gate. So I saw that, and I saw a symbol on the key, which I don't want to tell you guys now about, not yet. So I saw that in a vision, but this came before the car went, but I never connected the two. So at the end of the day, I started with my shopping list with Father. This is what I want, that is what I want, that is what I want. And I said to him, I do not want to put a car through roadworthy. I don't want to go through that hassle. That was the one thing. And this, one of the other big things I had to say, Father, I do not want biscuit tires. You know, the low profile tires, I didn't want biscuit tires at all. So I gave my list to him, and at times I would go into rest, and then I'll remember the car again. But every time I go on the internet looking for a car, I couldn't bring money and the car together. And then one day I said to Father, Father, you know what? This is all I've got in my hand, and I need a car. I don't know how to bring it together. I'm now going to leave it with you.
Okay, so that was, yeah. What are some of the stuff, I think, in this time that you were learning? Because you said it was 5 months now that you were kind of waiting. If you have to kind of tell me one or two major things that shifted for you in terms of what was some of those things that really, one of the big things that, hold on, this has shifted. I will never think about money or cars or property or anything ever the same, that kind of shifted during this time. And how did that shift kind of came about?
Okay, now that shift didn't come in the 5 months. That came afterwards. So while I was in this birthing process, I didn't have aha moments. I was taken back on a timeline, and I had to face certain situations where I struggled with money, and not really struggled with money. My focus was so on the car and the money and not being able to marry that up. God literally had to strip away all the blockages that I had. And that was amazing. I think the biggest thing for me was the total surrender of I'm not in control of my money. I didn't realize that I was so in control of money that I dictated where the money must be spent, how it must be spent, how much must be spent. Now, when this car came, the revelation that came with it was absolutely mind-blowing. Now, I know I didn't completely answer your question, so you can ask again what you want to know, but I didn't have major things, but I had like breakthrough. As I said, I will have a breakthrough in that is where my mind was. This was a blockage and that was a blockage. One of the blockages I had where I lost hope was when I went to school and I couldn't get to the matric farewell because I didn't have a dress. And in that time, I lost hope. I realized there wasn't time. I realized that I had to walk very far. So I missed my own matric farewell. And the amazing thing that came up, because when I get the call, and Mark-Marie, you give me the cue when I can elaborate on how I got the car. But when I got the call about the car that I now have, when that call came in and the call ended, I started going right back into that night when I couldn't make the matric farewell. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe I'm not worthy. All these kind of things did go through my mind. But the difference was I recognize it. I could see, okay, fine. This is where it's coming from, and that's a lie. I am provided for. I could see now with the money issues that comes up, or things that come up, I look at it differently because I can now see that I'm not dictated to by money.
Are you still there? Yeah, there you are. Okay, so let's get into the story, because I think that is important. You have said now that you had this vision before you even sold the BMW. You had the vision of somebody giving you a car key through your front door, through the gate of your front door, and you saw a specific symbol. So that was something that was in your mind that you kind of forgotten about. But now you're also at a place where you were kind of, I need a car, I have a little bit of money. So it was the 42 plus a little bit from what you had saved up. So you had a little bit of money, but not enough to buy, well, in these days, anything proper, really. So it was a little bit, but not really enough for what you had in mind. And then I think one little bit I just want to share is Sylvia was part of the Think Differently About Money course, online course that we did. And just the night before, we had this amazing synchronicity that was happening within the group. Somebody else prophesied, or she testified that she got a car over Christmas. And it was this beautiful testimony. But anyway, the whole evening was just beautiful. And then in that moment, we said, okay, but before Christmas, everybody who's trusting for a car will have a car. We didn't realize it will be the next day for Sylvia. So Sylvia, what happened? What happened that next day? Tell us what happened then.
I just want to take a half a step back. And I really want to recommend anybody, if Mark-Marie is redoing this course, you guys need to get on it, because you don't know what comes out there, because you are faced with your fears. And the mindsets that you have about
Oh, that's
money.
going to that's going to make anybody sign up. Oh yeah, face your fears. Thank you, Sylvia.
Yeah. So Mart Marie is saying, she says, by Christmas, everybody that needs a car, you're going to have a car. Look out. And my heart sank. And I thought, I don't want a car by Christmas. I want it now. So in any case, went to bed. I don't even think I prayed or think about it again, but I had that sinking feeling in my heart, not knowing God had this good surprise the next day. So the next morning, I got a call from my sister and we're chatting about different things, and by she went, and within 10 minutes, which is very unusual, she phones me back. And she says to me, Sylvia, there's somebody in the estate where I live that wants to sell their car. She says, I'm going to go and look for the car now. But she had it open, the photo of the car, she had it open on her phone, but she didn't, when she turned it to me, she didn't realize, she didn't show me the whole car, she just showed me the hatch that was open. And the moment I saw that hatch open, I knew it was my car. I just knew it was my car. A prophecy that I had, somebody said to me, you're going to get, the car that I saw has a reflective paint, but she didn't tell me the color of the paint. So in any case, I'm seeing this. And then my sister said, I'm going to go and have a look now at the car and I will let you know about the car. But this man wants 80,000 Rand for the car. And I wasn't worried about the car, about that. And, you know, when she put the phone down, the ego man started standing up. I started saying, maybe I just saw the hatch, and I started the reasoning process. Maybe I saw the hatch, maybe this. You know, I didn't want to get my hopes up, because when you have a poverty mentality, it's one of the things you build up hope, and then something happens, doesn't materialize, and then that hope fades away. And I was suppressing that hope that was rising in me. And an hour later, there was a knock on the door, and I opened the front door, and there my sister standing with a key in her hand like that, through the gate, the same vision I saw. And guess what was on the, on the key?
Not BMW.
It was a Mercedes. So I looked past her and I saw the car. I couldn't go to the car. I just couldn't. I was standing like this. I couldn't. I don't know what happened inside of me. But I was looking at the key and I was looking at her, and it was crazy. I said to her afterwards, I need to take photos. I need to have proof what has happened at this gate. So she said, go look at the car. I said, no, come in. I couldn't comprehend. So I said, please just tell me the whole story. And she said to me, she went to the man and she said to him, my sister is looking for a car. And he said to her, I'll give this car to your sister for 70,000 Rand. The first 7 that I saw in the
that's
number.
10,000 less than the original price, which is a lot.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. 10,000 without saying a word. And that matched up to the numbers, the first 7 that I got. So, I mean, I'm standing here in, I don't know what I was even dressed in. Elaine said, you must get ready, we must go. So I'm in the shower and do, and I still put a little bit of makeup on so that man can at least see a decent person that's going to buy that car.
But how amazing is it that he actually trusted your sister enough to take the car?
But that's just the amazing thing. He gave her the key and said, go. Nothing. But now, then we went, my sister wanted me to drive the car. I was as nervous as anything because it's, anyway, so we meet the guy, he's in the gym on the estate talking to this guy. no haggling, nothing. He just wanted to know my story. And I had my phone with me. So we're driving to go and get the papers of the car. And I'm in the car and I'm transferring the money to him. It was the easiest 70,000 Rand I've given out in my life. I had no attachment to that money. And as that money left my bank account, because he was also the same bank, so it went through immediately. The first thing that came to me is, this is your inheritance. And that is one thing that the Lord showed me with the BMW, but then I was ready to understand it. I never paid a cent for the BMW. I inherited that. And when this car, the Mercedes, came up, Father said, it's part of your inheritance. You don't have to pay for it. You have just now gifted him money. So when I go into the shop, everything that I need, I have already received that. Because he says, everything whatsoever your needs is the world's, or the world's wants is, I don't want to, I'm going to get this wrong, but everything that we need is already there. And because it's there, it comes to you because somebody died. And this is the part of this car that is absolutely so amazing, that this man that sold the car, his father died a couple of months ago. He inherited his father's car, and now I got my inheritance through this man. And why the 5 months? I had a lot of things had to come down, but God was so detailed, because when I sold my BM, I kept on having this thing, I need to clean the garage out and get it ready for the new car. The day before the transaction happened with the car, I kept on going to the garage, and I don't know why. I kept on looking at the one cupboard on the side, and I think I must move that cupboard to the front. I just had this feeling to do housekeeping, to receive something. Now, when that man and I did the business, and this is the amazing thing, I said earlier, I sold the BM in 2 days. This car came to me in 2 hours. That was absolutely mind-blowing. And when God showed me that everything that we need is there. So everybody that's listening to this testimony, if you need a car, God has got your car. Sometimes there's something in you, like in me, I had so many things that was blocking that frequency, because you've got to have a frequency to receive from heaven. And in that, I had to be patient and not push it. And there were times where I thought, I'm not going to get a car. As I said earlier, I thought maybe I'm going to die. Maybe my kids need the money to bury me or something like that. But these things go through you. But I realized that there's a frequency and there's a vibration in heaven. And the Lord showed me almost something like a T, you know, when you put the ball on and you hit it, but it was more like a funnel. So that is heaven, and this is the peace that comes to you. But your traumas and all these things in between causes blockages, and he had to uncork me. And he used Mad Marie. He used the training that we had around money. He used all of that to unblock and uncork me so that I could get into the frequency of receiving that car. And that was mind-blowing.
Yeah, Sylvia, I hear so many things that you're saying, and which is really amazing. I think the first thing that I heard you say about the old car is that there was emotion attached to the old car. There was emotion attached. And even though you want to admit it or not, there's already emotion attached to the new car. It might be different, but we emotionally attach to things. That is why things exist, and that is why things is in our lives. That is how we create them. But then also there's something about which is so beautiful for me is the whole gift thing that you spoke about. Everything is paid for. And everything, and for me, and that's something I learned from Kirby, and I'm trying and I'm learning to live in that everything is, that everything is paid for, and that when we give, it is a gift. So I'm learning that. But was this process for you with the car? Do you think that has shifted everything in terms of how you think about money? Do you think that how you think, even if you go to the store now to buy bread, do you think differently now about just the flow of money in your life, the flow of, and not just money, but resources? I think we had this conversation about resources and money and need, and so that was kind of conversation. But do you think differently now about things? Do you? Yeah.
Okay. What I can say is that there's been a major shift around money, because obviously after paying for the car, so the one account is zero, or a couple of hundred in there. So that account is zero. I had to dip into my normal money to take a little bit of money out of there to add to make up the 70,000. And the other day I looked at my balance and I just saw 14. And my stomach, my nervous system reacted, because all the trauma around money and poverty and things is still in my nervous system. So I saw 14 and I had this like nervous reaction, and immediately I said to myself, but 14 is double 7. And my nervous system just relaxed and I was fine. But afterwards, going into a couple of days ago, last week, I need a power supply, an inverter for Wi-Fi and the meetings and things like that. And I looked around and I could walk into the shop and spend 5,400 Rand. After seeing 14, I spent 5,400 Rand without blinking an eye. There was not that. But one of the cycles I still need to break is going into the shop and do daily shopping, because I'm so trained to compare prices. There's things I won't compromise on, but I would, for meat, for instance, what steak do you buy? What chicken do you buy? You look at the kilogram price. These are cycles that I can now break, because don't go there. I used to buy looking at the label. I now look at what I want. But so there has been a major shift, that I must say. But the little cycles and patterns are more recognizable, and it's much easier to pick that up than before. I didn't know before, and it's okay if you don't know what you know, but now I know and I'm aware of it.
Yeah, I want to start wrapping up the conversation, but I know that there's people who's listening to this and thinking, yeah, God will give Sylvia a car, but no, but mine is falling apart. Mine is, it's not, no, God is not going to do that for me. Sylvia is a favorite because she's the Archie, and she's, so she's a favorite, and that's why this happened. And that's what, and I don't even want to say advice, because advice, it's a really personal journey for everybody. But if there's somebody you can say to those few people who's sitting there, who's really trusting God for a car, who is really in the same space where you were just a week ago, a little bit over a week ago, what is it? Yeah, what would you say to them?
My advice for them would be is whatever it is, if you come from money or if you come from poverty, is one of the things that I had to do is I had to choose to let go of the way that I was thinking and seeing money. Let go of that. I truly believe so much healing has come for me personally. And the very car that you want is yours, but allow the process. Allow the process. He will provide the lifts for you while you wait for your car. I also had a choice. I could go out and buy a car and owe people money. I had that choice, but I made a choice not to do that. And what I got from it was so much more. I would not have had, I don't think I would change anything. Anything. Not the 5 months, not the 7 years it took me to sell this car. Not the detangling that I went through. All of a sudden, I love the car. I enjoy the car. There is so many whistles and bells I didn't even ask for. I am so blessed by the car. I get in that car and I know how loved I am. And this is one of the big things. If you hand the money over, the biggest thing I have discovered is his love. I don't know, the scripture that came to me a lot was, you will prosper and be in good health. And that prosper I always just put down to money. But he has prospered my soul and my nervous system. I would really and truly say, just hand it over and let him do and let him work through you and in you. I would rather have the healing and being free from the whole system of money and walk with my feet or take an Uber. It's a gift. It's yours. It really is yours.
That is, yeah. And I think that, thank you for that. And I think that is the biggest thing we all have to, is have an understanding of our worth and how loved we are. But, and also to have the freedom to walk the walk with a good Father. And who is giving us incredible tools to manifest on this earth and to give us the wisdom to manifest the things that we believe, like you've manifested and you've seen it, and you have, you know, we talk vibration and energy. So we have all these amazing natural tools to help us. But our journeys are so different, because what for you might be a journey of healing and not living in debt might be, for somebody else, might be the total opposite. So just because, and I really want to just bring that out, is it is such a personal, it is such an intimate journey. And what I've seen since I've started with these about money talks is that money and emotion go so closely together. Money and emotion and how we think about life go so closely together that it is really, we almost can't separate the two things from each other. So whatever your journey is, it should always be with you know, within intimacy, you know, with the good Father, with our good Father. Sylvia, I celebrate with you. This is such an incredible testimony. The whole point about money is sharing testimonies, that we can step into the flow, because the testimonies is such a powerful prophecy of Jesus. So it is, I am really, congratulations with your new car. And I hope that everybody else who's listening to this will really step into the flow and take this prophecy. We'll take this testimony as a prophecy of your own. And I would love to hear more stories about new cars. So thank you. So Sylvia, thank you for sharing this. And I almost want to invite anybody who wants to hear more about the story to connect with Sylvia. She's not shy to share it. So if you want to chat more to her, I will post some pictures of the car and the keys on Facebook. And thank you, Sylvia. And congratulations.
Thank you, for having me. I really enjoyed sharing the story. For everybody else out there, the encouragement that I have for you is, don't feel you have to be where I am, because there's grace wherever you are. And Father will meet you wherever you are. He is a loving, loving Father.
Amen. Sylvia, thank you. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, dear. God bless you.
Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Bye.